as a supranational, we have the luxury to be able to move, with no particular restrictions, both in the domestic market here onshore, but also offshore. We are a supranational, so we get a kind of a special treatment by PBOC. So we can do both, and we see both perspectives. So first of all, what I want to say is that we as AIIB, we have a significant operation here in China also, and so China is also a client to the bank, both public sector and private sector. So we lend here domestically in China, and we lend also in RMB. So we have a natural need for funding in RMB. So we can look at the market from both perspectives. So from a kind of a dollar funding based perspective, because we have the option of swapping back into USD, into US dollars, which is our base currency, but we also have the ability to keep proceeds in RMB to deploy at a later stage. And we have done several projects here in China domestically, both with the government directly, with local authorities, so provincial governments, municipal governments, and completely private sector. So what I will say on the onshore market is that over the years, since we started funding in RMB in 2020, so it's only a 4-year experience, but we have seen quite a shift in terms of the investor participation. So the first outings, we had lots of participation from banks here and also international investors. But now, as I said before, we are doing more and more investor activity locally here in China. Me too, although I am ashamed to say that I didn't learn any Mandarin in 5 years, but I do a lot of traveling for investor marketing, fortunately with my colleagues who can help me on the language skills. But we are seeing lots of investors in China, in all of China, not only in the important cities like this one, this beautiful Shenzhen, which is an amazing city, but we also travel in faraway places to talk to a lot of tier 2, tier 3 investors. And so this, we see the effects, in our latest bond financings. We see more and more smaller type investors who are participating. In fact, they are now the majority. We sell more to domestic Chinese investors than international investors. So this is a dynamic we are seeing in the panda bond market and domestically here in China, and it's very important. From an offshore perspective, in dim sum we are quite active as well, but dim sum we use mainly for reverse inquiry. So we will respond to investors who come to us and solicit some issuance, particularly in the form of private placements. Sometimes they might want longer duration, sometimes they want small size. So we will accommodate everything, and that part we look at mainly from a kind of an arbitrage point of view on an after swap cost basis back into US dollars.